Welcome to Backpage Blues. I'm joined by Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online, and I'm delighted that you've had the time to join us. Actually, Charlie.
No worries, it's been a bit of a busy day.
Yeah, it's been it's just such a bad time at the moment for us. And the only place I can start is: are we going to have a new manager?
At the minute, it's still up in the air. You know, obviously, I've been in the office all day for the past week, really. You know, trying to work out what's going on with Chelsea, what's going on with Mourinho. The Leicester result has obviously plummeted us into a new crisis. It's back on the agenda.
The club have been having meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Meetings have been had over the past week about Mourinho's future. In fact, there was a 9-hour meeting after the Bournemouth game.
A 9-hour meeting.
Yeah, it's a long time. Isn't
What are they getting up to in there?
I don't know. You know, hopefully there are a few breaks. But no, the club are in constant contact. Abramovich in constant contact with the board over Mourinho's future. You know, he was willing to give Mourinho time. Obviously, that statement came out a couple of months ago, or a month and a half ago. The loss to Bournemouth, and now obviously the loss to Leicester has put that firmly back on the agenda. You know, there's a couple of things. You know, there's not a host of replacements that you'd absolutely jump at. Obviously, you know, I still think he retains fan support.
Interesting, because I've just read that Guardiola could be available.
Well, look, I mean, Guardiola will actually leave Bayern Munich at the end of the season. That's for definite.
He's off?
Yeah, he's going to announce that next week. He's not renewing his contract.
Backpage Blues exclusive there.
Yeah, not quite, is it? You know, what we reported in the Mail earlier today. He's going to announce that next week. And interestingly enough, former Chelsea manager Carlo Ancelotti is going to take over Bayern Munich. In the summer.
So that will mean that Ancelotti is not available for Chelsea? People are often talking about.
No, certainly not. And in fact, although that had been mooted, and I think he was sounded out, I think from what I understand, he's made it clear to the Chelsea board that
not interested.
He's not interested in taking that backward step.
So who else? So Guardiola is available? Could be available?
Yeah, I mean, certainly not right away. I think if Mourinho does go, they'll certainly be looking to appoint, yet another interim manager until the end of the season. Obviously, that won't be Guardiola. In fact, I'm confident that Guardiola will come to the Premier League. I'm not sure it's going to be Chelsea. There's certainly going to be a fight between.
But it can't. There's only a few that it can be, really.
Well, it's not going to be Watford, is it?
No.
Obviously he's going to be looking at the Manchester clubs and possibly Chelsea.
But you don't think it will fall our way?
Possibly, but basically, he's going to be the most in-demand manager. I'm not sure Chelsea are going to win that battle, possibly.
Right.
I mean, it's given the fact we're probably not going to be in the Champions League next season. In terms of interim managers, I think another former Chelsea manager, Gus Hiddink, I think he's the favourite at the minute. They're also looking at people like Marcello Lippi, and I'm not sure this is going to be too popular, but Brendan Rodgers is also.
Oh, that'd be the worst. That'd be the worst possible.
No,
but all these managers that you've suggested there, they'd all want to come in, and if they were to get the job, they'd want to bring in their own people, wouldn't they? They'd want to have a big say over transfer signings and stuff.
I'm not sure that's going to be part of their remit hugely. I think it would be under the understanding that they'd be to the end of the season, and unfortunately, we're talking in terms like this. It would be a case of keeping Chelsea in the Premier League.
Safety, yeah.
Obviously, Juande Ramos has been linked heavily. From what we understand in the Mail, he it's just a link at the minute. He's not nowhere near top of the list.
Unbelievable. So who's going to get us out of this problem? So let's say we stick with Mourinho. What players? Are there any transfer dealings?
Well, no, I mean, to be honest, Mourinho came out and said after the Leicester game that he's not looking to add to the squad. I find that bizarre personally. I'm not convinced that Mourinho is actually going to get that chance. I don't think it's nailed on that Mourinho is going to be Chelsea manager come January 1st in the slightest.
But we can't spend big anyway. It'd be very difficult to spend big with FFP and the fact that we won't be in the Champions League.
And also, the players that you'd want to spend big money on aren't available, and anyone that you did spend money on would probably not be of that calibre. So to be honest, there's not been a huge amount of players linked with Chelsea in January.
Right.
There are obviously divisions in the camp. We've heard these stories come out. After the Bournemouth game, after the Leicester game, it's clear. I've been getting a lot of stick on Twitter for posting these stories, but it couldn't be clearer that Eden Hazard is not happy at the club.
Right. There's a cloud. It feels like there's an overall. It's not just, it permeates through to the fans as well. But there's an unhappiness around Chelsea Football Club at the moment.
Yeah, of course. You've written on that this week. For us and another paper which I won't mention. But Cesc Fabregas is his demeanour at Leicester wasn't what you'd want from a player.
Yeah.
Looking to drag Chelsea at the table. We had this story. Come after that game that he didn't even go in the dressing room. Straight 5 minutes after the final whistle, he was in full kit on the coach, head down kind of thing. So, it's.
Can you shed any light on the Hazard issue? Because it's unbelievable, isn't it? The downturn. I remember having a chat on Backpage Blues a year ago, and we were talking about Hazard in very different terms. We were talking about him as a potential Ballon d'Or contender.
Yeah, of course,
But part of the reason that we were so confident in his ability to potentially win that award was because he had excellent guidance of his father, who had an excellent relationship with Jose Mourinho.
Yeah,
the three of them were all pulling in the same direction. Yeah. How has it gone so sour?
Well, I do think that Hazard and Mourinho have fundamental differences about how
the game should be played,
and what his role in the team wants to be in terms of getting the ball and tracking back and that kind of thing. This incident on Leicester, obviously, when we were up there, in the stands, we didn't quite know what was going on, but he came off. Mourinho alluded to the fact post-match that he possibly could have played on and kind of decided that he couldn't go back on. For what it's worth, Hazard firmly believes that there was absolutely no way he could play on. He wasn't in training today.
It was really good. That's really going to have made.
He went for a scan on Monday.
But so whether it's true or not, whatever the reality of the situation is, it's sort of irrelevant because it's terrible that it's been aired in the public that one of them thinks the other one is lying.
Yeah, obviously lying's a strong word. It's it's a bit of cat and mouse. Maybe Mourinho doesn't think Hazard tried quite as hard as he could have done to play, and Hazard felt that he couldn't. But this injury situation is an absolute dot in the grand scheme of things. Diego Costa is clearly not happy at the club. He's clearly unsettled. He's clearly, not at the races in terms of performance on or off the pitch. It's a very, I don't know how to dress it up anymore. It's a very, very bad situation at the club at the minute. It's bizarre to me as obviously I'm a Chelsea fan. Obviously I was a Chelsea fan growing up. But it's bizarre to me that we're in this situation where, that Sunderland game's a huge game.
Yeah, 6 points, isn't it?
On Saturday. Yeah. If Chelsea lose that, you're actually looking to see where your next 3 points are coming from.
I know.
It's
Do you know what, Charlie? Lots of people have a lot of questions for you. I put a shout out on Twitter and they came in. There've been a huge influx. So we should try and answer as many of those as possible. So make sure that you stay tuned for Backpage Blues Part 2. On you Blues. Welcome to Backpage Blues Part 2. It's time for my favourite part of the week, and that is where we answer your questions. I'm still joined by Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online, and thank you so much. So we've got an awful lot of questions, so we should make a start and get through as many as possible.
I'll go first, Raw. Eden Hazard wants to know, I don't know whether that's really him. Yeah, obviously. No, he's certainly not doing much else, so we might as well